I want to talk to you today about a really good concept. It's called the habit creep. And it's literally a very predictable, unsexy way to really allow you to grow and develop and become way more successful where you currently are by focusing on some basic habit creep moves. So think of it this way. Let's talk about a lifestyle creep. So I have a residency program where I work with these resident doctors that come out of school, go into residency, and then eventually get out of residency and they go to their whatever job they're going to do. And what happens in this journey is that your income in residency is about $50,000 a year. And you got wife, kids, typically as you're later in your career. And then once you get out, you're now making a much higher amount of money. So you go from $50,000 to say $250 to $500, whatever your specialty is, to a much higher level of earnings. So what happens is, and we talk about this all the time, is that your lifestyle is a creep. So for instance, if you're making $50,000, you could live fine in that budget. But then once you get the new salary, the first thing you want to do, hey, I want to buy some new jeans. I want to get a new car. I'm going to buy this big house. So what happens is this lifestyle creep just caught up with you because these habits we're building towards it. Just like we talked about before, if money gets into your checking account, it typically finds a home and it's being used for other goods and services and may not be within alignment of what your goals are trying to do. So we have lifestyle creeps that start happening. You start ratcheting up, and the next thing you know, you fast forward, it's 15 years later, and you're like, oh my gosh, what happened? I have no money. I have nothing to show for it. I sure don't have money working for me. I am working so hard for it to keep up with my lifestyle where now I have anxiety, stress, fear, and I need to catch up. So I make emotional decisions on my investments and on and on and on as the vicious cycle of this human emotional roller coaster goes around money and living lifestyle. So to be successful, think of it this way. If you have cookies in your house and you're trying to lose weight, a habit would be that maybe you take the cookies and hide them. So these habits that we do every single day end up running our days, and we may not even know that they're happening. So if you start to understand what your habit creep is, what you really want, then you start manufacturing your life to get to that end result. But you have to be a little bit intentional or very intentional about what those things are. So if you can figure out, like this next quarter, what are the top 5 habits that I want to break? They don't have to be huge habits. It could be simple as that when I come home, my phone is in the drawer. I'm going to set it in the drawer. It's not going to affect me for these 2 hours. My daughter will grab my phone, literally put it in her backpack and go hide it because she knows that I am very bad with that. She's 7 years old. She figures it out. So what are we going to do to make that be a better environment for what we're trying to do? So that way we're more attentive to that. So if you say for the next 20 days, I'm going to do X and it's going to make this much difference in my life, that's a lifestyle creep that you start to move forward over, right? It's a habit creep that you start to do that will give you a better sense of purpose. When it comes to our money, it could be just like we talked about, maybe saving 1% more, or maybe it's doing something else in a different way. Right? So that way you are more intentional. Maybe it's a living wealthy account where you say, look, I really want to go on vacation. I really want to do these things. So I want to take a percentage of my income and I want to put in that account. And once that account gets that number, then that's what I'm going to spend after I do that. So that way I can live within those means and I know exactly what I'm going for. So I think it's real important that if you want to get control and you want to change things in your life financially, personally, spiritually, whatever it may be, think of like small victories. Think of like the 1% thing you can do better and just do a little bit more of that. But if you're going to change yourself, you got to change your environment. So think about those meaningful things you can do. And remember, after about 20 days of doing something like that, you become better at that habit. And now that becomes part of your daily routine. So quit thinking of these huge, audacious goals you want to go for. I mean, obviously have those out in the future, but really the trick to getting there and the unsexy way to get there is to do something daily all the way through that path. Because if you want to do a better job, you want to get a better promotion, you want to do more, maybe you got to change your daily habits a little bit differently. If you want to be fit, maybe it's getting up a little bit earlier and walking first. And then for the first 6 weeks, we do that. Then the next one we run. And then we ended up doing sprints. And then next thing you know, we started doing CrossFit. And the next thing you know, you're building, right? So those types of things you do, but it's the 1% you're doing along the way that really makes a huge difference. So if you're going to hack your future, you're going to live the life you really want, you got to really be intentional about it and make sure that you don't let these habit creeps destroy you. Actually, you got to flip them around and make them work for you, so then you can hit the big, hairy, audacious goals that you all want to hit.